So the Elden Ring Nightreign beta is over, and I wrapped up my playtime around 14 hours, and I can confidently say I'm super excited for this game to come out. Because at first, just like everyone else, I was worried about the game. You know, I saw the trailer at the Game Awards, and I was like, Elden Ring 2, how could this be bad? But then all the articles started coming out after the show saying Elden Ring Fortnite, Elden Ring this, Elden Ring roguelike, and I was like, is this even Elden Ring anymore? But they cooked. They cooked for sure. To say the least, Miyazaki knows what he's doing with this one. This game actually isn't led by Miyazaki and is led by this guy. So that's a mistake on my part. Let's get back to the video. What's up everybody? My name is Def and today we're going to be talking about the Elden Ring Nightreign beta. But before I go on this rant, I do just want to let you know I'm fully aware that this was just a network test, that this wasn't even technically a beta test. So I know that the game is missing so much content and the current product of the game probably is nowhere near the same thing as a network test. But I'm still going to share the things that I liked and didn't like about the game just in case, because you never know. But I can tell you, have more faith in this game, because I genuinely think this game will be a blast at launch. Let's begin. I'm gonna start with the things that I liked and loved. And what better way to start than with the gameplay loop itself. The gameplay loop feels so unique and refreshing to the point that it doesn't even feel like a Souls game anymore. Now wait, when I say that, I'm not saying it like a bad thing. You still have your elements of traversing through the world, killing difficult bosses, and getting stronger as time goes on. That's like the main mechanic of this game, getting stronger. But those three things are kind of really the only things that are similar to the Souls genre. Because even the combat, the movement, and just the world and gameplay itself feels pretty different. But it's still an Elden Ring game at the end of the day. So you're still probably going to be seeing your favorite weapons every now and then. Some bosses from the Elden Ring games, and even the Dark Souls games. Maybe even Bloodborne and Sekiro too. But I kind of doubt Sekiro, maybe Bloodborne. But the overall gameplay loop is more of, you start up the game, whether that be with yourself or two other buddies. You pick the character you're going to play with, and then you choose a boss you're going to hunt. Which is where I kind of feel like a Monster Hunter element kind of gets played into it. But that's really kind of the only Monster Hunter element in it. I'm playing through Monster Hunter World right now, and I'm planning to hop into Rise next and then Wilds. So, I'm a fan of the franchise now. Back on topic. Once you select the boss you're going to hunt, you're going to drop into this world and just start looting up almost immediately. Throughout the world, you're going to find all these chests, campsites, fortresses, and sometimes just roaming bosses around. With the two bosses I found myself encountering the most just out and about was Loretta and the fucking hippo. So hopefully they throw in some new small fry bosses when the game fully comes out. And as you're progressing through the day and looting up, it eventually turns nighttime and you have this ring closing in on you into one zone where the final boss of that night will be. And depending on where that ring closes, depends on which boss you're going to fight. In the beta, you either had Demon Centipede from Dark Souls 1, or this dual boss from base Elden Ring. The ring opens back up and you basically just go back to looting until the ring closes you in on another zone again. Now the Night 2 boss, much harder than the first night boss. Which the bosses for Night 2 in the beta were Morgott and the Tree Sentinel and his little goons. Which Morgott isn't that bad, but the Tree Sentinel and his two buddies, oh my god. That boss was a pain in the ass. I think that boss was harder than the final boss. This boss was constantly kicking my teammates' asses. This boss was not for the weak. It's a trio boss fight, so everyone has to pull their own weight. So if one person doesn't, and they go down, the next person is getting fucked up. And once that person is done getting fucked up, then the third person is cooked. So this fight really depends on everyone pulling their own weight. Which I really enjoyed. Until you can't stop getting shit teammates that can't do it. After defeating the final boss of Night 2, this little goop is going to appear on the ground. And that's how you teleport to the final area. You get brought into this really beautiful final area. And this is your last chance to buy anything or level up right before the final boss. But once you're done with that and you are ready to go, you open up the gates to fight Gladius, the Beast of Night. And honestly, this fight was super fucking easy. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't fail this fight a single time. And if you literally just had one other decent teammate, you'll be good. Which really sucks because this was kind of your intro boss into the game. So I really hope they spike his difficulty when the game fully releases. But yeah, this fight was pretty fucking easy. Don't get me wrong, I did have a couple close calls. But once you get a solid build going, and you have a good weapon, and you didn't die a bunch of times throughout the days, you're fine. But that's it. Once you kill the boss, the game ends, you get your little relics, which I'm going to talk about later in the video, and you're back in the lobby. I'm going to talk about the characters now. This character system, when I initially saw that Elden Ring Nightreign was going to be a hero-based game, I thought it was a terrible idea. I immediately said to myself, what are they thinking? There's no way that could be good. But thankfully I was wrong, because my god, they cooked. It really works here, and it is really flushed out. With every character having their own designated passive, skill, and ultimate. Kind of forcing you to a certain playstyle, but still giving you enough freedom to make your own build. And one of my favorite things about Elden Ring was always the build crafting. There's 4 characters in total. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I can say all of the characters, they have their own spark. None of the characters felt left behind or overpowered by any of the other characters. They all have their own place and role. And I think when the full game comes out, there's going to be 8 characters in total. But I'm just going to talk about my favorite character and the character that has a lot of depth to it. My favorite character being the Guardian. Yes, the bird guy. I don't know why I like this character so much. I really thought Wilder was going to be my favorite character because he's kind of just the basic, you know, sword, go default knight character. Which is usually what I go for. But the Guardian, man, he was so much fun. The Guardian's kind of your go-around tank character. But he is a tank that packs a fucking punch. His skill is sort of simple and just kind of a useful ability. His skill is a wind-churning cyclone that sends enemies up in the air, stunning them, giving you a lot of time to smack them. But his ultimate, that's where the real power lies. You can choose to either go up in the air and just smack down a bunch of damage, or you can go up and come back down and protect an area. Which I never did, because let's be honest, who the fuck is doing that? But the version of the ultimate that does damage is really, really good at reviving your teammates. So those terrible teammates that I was getting in the beta, I got them back up quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Not to toot my own horn or anything. They would be nowhere without me. But man, this character was so much fun. I did give every character a genuine and decent try. Around 3 hours per character. And Guardian was the one that every single time I hopped on another character, he was the one I was thinking about. I can't wait to use him more, and I can't wait to use the new characters. But the Recluse, her complexity is insane. The Recluse is your day-to-day mage character. But they went all out on the Recluse, I'm not gonna lie. If you were to get a good Recluse on your team, oh my god, you guys are taking over the world. But still, she didn't feel so much overpowering over the other characters. Maybe I didn't know her well enough, and maybe other people can prove me wrong on that. But from how I see it, every character felt decently balanced. But the Recluse has like this skill where you can combine all these different elements up to 3 times. And there's so many different combinations. And they all lead into different types of spells. It's crazy. It's crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Here's a full chart if you want to see all the different combinations. But man, when I first saw that chart, I immediately knew the Recluse wasn't for me. I never really been a mage character, so then adding all this complexity on top of it, no thank you. I'm gonna stick to my bunk. Alright, that's enough of the characters. Now the system that I'm honestly looking forward to the most, which might surprise a lot of people, is the Relic System. This is sort of your system, your pre-build crafting before you hop into the game. So at the end of every game, I believe whether if you fail or succeed, you're going to get relics. And these relics stir from being simple, just a couple stat bonuses, to enhancing your character's skills and ultimates, which I found that fascinating. Like this one with Wilder that makes his ultimate now leave an area of fire. I thought that was so cool. I know it's something so simple, but like I said, I really love build crafting in these games. And I can't wait to see the system more fully in depth and fleshed out, because I'm going to make some banger builds with this shit. But at the end of the day, no game is perfect. I'm going to start talking about the things that I didn't like, which honestly wasn't a lot. And mind you, I thought I wasn't going to like the game at all to begin with. And honestly, the first thing I'm going to start off with that I didn't like was the difficulty. I don't know, overall, the game felt like really easy and like laid back, which I'm kind of hoping that's just because it's the beta, but there was really only one boss that gave me a tough time, and that was because everyone had to pull their own weight, that being the tree sentinel and his 2 goons. But once I really got the hang of the game, I was almost never failing a run, and it got so bad that honestly towards the end of the playtest, I was getting kind of bored, because the challenge wasn't really there. There was only one boss, one world, and limited bosses in that world to begin with. So the only thing that really had me staying around was how every run kind of leads you to use a different build based off whatever weapon you find. I guarantee you this problem is going to be fixed when the base game comes out, because there's going to be a lot more bosses, and I think a lot more variation to begin with. Speaking of variation, that's what I'm going to talk about next. It's a roguelite, but in the beta, every run didn't feel that different. I want to say there was 2 or 3 landing spots that you would find yourself at. And depending on the landing spot, I was finding myself going the same route almost every single time. I feel like they could really change the locations of certain things every single run, whether that be bosses, forts, and campsites. And something else I would really like to see would just be the overall world and atmosphere being different for each boss. Picture this. The boss you're hunting is Mesmer the Impaler. So, naturally, when you jump into the world is in a war. The entire island is engulfed in flames, and everywhere you go, you're finding enemies fighting. And then the bosses you find throughout the world could be the dancing lions, or for instance, military generals. Bosses leading the charge into the war. I know we're probably not going to see Mesmer in this game, but I was kind of just using him as an example on like how they could have the boss affect the world and the region that they're in. I just really hope that we don't find ourselves kind of in the same world with just small, tiny little different things depending on the boss that we're hunting. I want each hunt and boss fight to feel different. I think they're going to fix a lot of the variety issues. It's just how much will they fix? How much could they really spice up each run? As great as a company FromSoft and Bandai Namco is, every company has their limitations on what they can do with the game. And I'm really wondering if they're going to make an end goal other than just defeating the bosses. Because in other roguelike games like Dead Cells, you have an end goal to beat the final boss of all the bosses. It's quite literally just make it to the end. But with Elden Ring Nightreign and its mission-based system, it's kind of like how quickly is that going to get boring? And how are you going to flush it out more so it doesn't get boring? I don't know, these are just causes and concerns. Because I really do want the game to succeed at the end of the day. I just really think it's going to be really hard. And I don't think a lot of people are going to give it a chance, honestly. But that's why I'm making this video, to hopefully rise some more faith inside of you into Elden Ring Nightreign. Because I do have some genuine faith in them, and I do believe they're going to pull through with this one. Also, come to find out, we already have a confirmed DLC coming for Elden Ring Nightreign in Q4 of 2025. Which is crazy, but at least we know we're getting more content. Well, that's all I can say for the Elden Ring Nightreign beta. I'm looking very forward to this game on full release, and I can't wait to grab me and my buddies and play a couple rounds. And honestly, if you have any concerns or worries about the game, go ahead and subscribe, because I will be making a review when the full game releases. But an unbiased opinion, I think the game's going to be fine. It seems like they know what they're doing, and I do think the game will be fantastic. Will it live up to Elden Ring? No, because it's really not Elden Ring at the end of the day. It's a completely different genre, and you gotta remember that. One's a RPG, and the other one's a roguelike. They're not really gonna be the same thing. This game is mostly gonna be for the people that just like to jump in and fight bosses. But Elden Ring is more for the people that really like the world building and all that. But like I said, I really do think you should give the game a full chance when the game fully releases. Even if you don't like roguelikes, I think this one is different enough that you should give it a chance. That's gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check me out on Twitch, where I'm streaming all the games that I'm making videos on. And if you could please like and subscribe, that would mean so much for me. And if you have any honest feedback, leave them in the comments down below. I need it. I'm very open to criticism. But if you made it through this entire thing, you really should subscribe. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.